Well, as Alan said, I am Candy McCorkle. I have lived, I'm good. And I have a teacher's voice, so I may put this down because I have no problem with projecting. I've lived in this area for almost 20 years. I married a Michigander and have been stuck in Michigan ever since then. So that is how I come. I'm going to share with you the concept of Ubuntu. So I will get started. As humans, we are created as social beings. It is innate for us to want to be in fellowship with one another. So why is it that we find it so difficult to connect with others? Well, the primary barrier to this connection is fear. We fear because of rejection. A junior high girl afraid to ask a junior high boy to the dance because she wants to avoid being rejected. Because if we are rejected, it says to us we have no value, no worth. We fear because of vulnerability. If we show that we are vulnerable, we show weakness. And if we are weak, we have no strength, we have no ability. We fear because of difference. If you look, sound, or act differently than I do, it challenges my sense of self. It challenges my normalcy. So many times that fear becomes hate. And it becomes hate because of those feelings that fear stirs inside of us. And hate becomes the balm we attempt to heal our fears with. Fear shrinks our cultural imagination. It shrinks our world. Fear creates an us against them. And we only need to look in our world today. You heard Hakeem, you heard our Muslim brothers speak about some of the causes of that fear. In our world today, we have racism, sexism, narrow-mindedness about gender, xenophobia, homophobia. All of these things come out of fear. And these isms and these phobias, they challenge the status quo. And although as humans we desire social and emotional connections, we also like consistency, and we do not like change. So how do we begin to resolve this conundrum of the desire for human connection while maintaining the status quo? The solution to this problem is the South African concept of Ubuntu. It means humanity, or humanity towards others. This can be interpreted as I am what I am because who we all are. I am seen because I see you. The concept speaks to our need to be validated, made to feel as if we each have value, worth, ability, strengths, and talents. Simply put, we matter. And we can see Ubuntu in work in our world today, very simply. And I wish young Matthew was still here because this goes to him. You often hear the young people say, I see you, girl. And what they're saying is, I see your beauty, I see your strength, I see your swag, I see what you have. When you give change or food to a homeless person on the street, you say to that person, I see your need and I am going to meet it. You acknowledge their humanity. Saying hello to a stranger, that person can be having the worst day of their life. But that smile and that greeting says, you matter to me. You are important. Stopping to help a motorist on the road who has a broken down car. You say to them, I'm willing to help. Even though I have a destination to get to, I can stop because you're more important. Again, acknowledging that. I'm going to share a story. When I first came to Jackson, I came here as a therapist. My background is clinical psychology. And I worked at the hospital, as a substance abuse therapist. I had a client, and we're going to call her Tasha. Tasha had an addiction to crack. She also had an addiction to nicotine and alcohol. But those were symptoms, not Tasha's main problem. Her symptoms or her problem was that she grew up in a world of cyclical neglect, abuse. You heard Hakeem talk about not having someone touch his soul and bring it out. That was Tasha's issue. No one had ever told her, you matter, you are wonderful. And so as her therapist, I saw something in her. Because as a therapist and as a teacher in my later life, I couldn't do those jobs if I couldn't see the light within my students and my clients. Tasha went on to get clean. She went on to learn how to read. She got a job. She came back to see me a few years after our therapy time together to show me what she had accomplished. And what she said to me is, you know what? I'm important. Yeah, you are, Tasha. You always have been. But she had to learn that. And so when we look at Tasha's story, we look at that hip-hop phrase of I see you. When we engage in these types of acts, we acknowledge another's humanity and are able to see our own. We heard our Muslim brother say, I have to know thyself in order to know someone else. And so when we acknowledge others, we acknowledge ourselves. Ubuntu is a simple concept, but one that we find challenging to implement. Ubuntu requires us to let down our guard. It requires us to disrupt the status quo and to be open to change. As we celebrate the Festival of Light and our unity with one another, let us embrace the truths that the light shows us. My mom had a saying growing up. You know, when you do things because you think, oh, my parents are old, they don't know anything. Well, she always said, what's done in the dark will be revealed in the light. And you might have heard that from your parents as well. Well, that fear and that bomb of hatred, those are our dark forces that are eradicated by the light of humanity. We have so much healing to do as a people. I have, went on a strike from the news because all it is hatred and bigotry, and it's like, is there any good in the world? Well, the way we eradicate that bomb of hatred and that fear is to begin to see humanity. So the light of humanity is how we will eradicate that. The problem is this change, and the reason why we don't like it is it's painful. It is hard because it requires us to look at self. It requires us to make some changes. It is scary because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know the outcome. And at times it is very uncertain. But like any beautiful garden, if you have a little sunshine, you have some water, some good soil, a nice strong foundation, and nurturance, comes beautiful blooms. When we wonder if there is a God, we only need to look at the diversity among us. Tonight we have had the Jewish faith, the Buddhist faith, the Muslim faith, the Christian faith, the Baha'i Faith. We have had black, white, young, old. I love looking at the drums. It's an African drum troupe, but yet it was a collective of cultures. So when we wonder if there's a God, we only need to look at the diversity among us. And not any two of us are exactly the same, because we each possess a unique beauty, a unique gift, a unique strength that is required for our world to be sustained. We are all connected, and we need each other, not just to survive, but to thrive. So see me, and I will see you. You exist because I exist. And that is Ubuntu. So on that note, go forth and let your light shine, because it is through your light that you will guide someone else's way. I appreciate and am very honored to be able to be here to share with you. Thank you. We shall
shall remember Ubuntu. So thank you so much for your for your perfect rendition. It's very much in keeping with our beliefs, and the light will continue to shine in all of us. Thank you for being here, Dr. McCorkle.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.